I just wanted to say a sincere thanks to all my friends, family who've helped me complete my Shrine for Norway project. Um, it was such fun. And I know it took a long time, there were long delays because of COVID and various things. We had an extraordinary journey. So this is a little short video to tell the story, dedicated for the benefit of the Sangha in Norway, to all those who practice in Dhamma, and a special thanks to B, to Martine, to Cliff, Mark, many others, too many names to mention. It was such fun, and thank you very much for giving me that chance. A couple of years ago, I was very excited to see the new developments in a monastery in southern Norway, and the new building, the new meditation hall, was quite amazing place. Kind of had windows right down to the floor, so you felt you were sitting in the forest. And then the community there received a new Buddha statue, which was rather lovely, but they felt they were lacking a proper means of presenting that Buddha image. So I decided to offer, my offer of support was to build them a shrine table, which would display the traditional candles, flowers and incense and other offerings, as though for their pujas and ceremonies and so on. So I came up with a design, and and then I built a little 1/10 scale model. There's pictures of the model. Notice the little candlestick holders are actually nut and bolt. It's quite a small little model, and I had a little Cambodian Buddha image, which is pretty close to 10th the size of the one they had in Norway. So I produced a little model, and they're very happy. So then I received some support and sponsorship for buying the timber. I got some very nice quality mahogany, and started working in the workshop, starting with raw planks, which were as long as my workshop, so I needed to cut them up, which required moving machinery almost every step, because as people who know me, my workshop is pretty small. And then over a fairly long period, I managed to complete the thing. I wasn't able to keep it in the workshop or assemble it in the workshop, again because of space problems. So I had it in the house for a while, and then I decided to make the community a tamat, so like a teacher's seat, also to stand in the meditation hall. So that all completed. We had to wait for a couple of failed attempts at shipping the thing to Norway. So I decided one morning, I woke up and looked at Google Maps, and I realised that I could drive there. So I started looking at that possibility, and a dear friend of mine, Martine, had got herself a camper van. It's actually a converted AA breakdown van, and she said she was looking for an adventure. So the adventure was set, and we loaded up the shrine table and the tamat, which I made in a kind of flat pack, and decided that to make sure it gets there in good condition and arrives there perfect condition, we would drive it ourselves. So we loaded up the van and set off on this pretty tortuous long drive all the way to just a few miles short of Oslo. How do I describe the journey? 20 odd hours of driving like a bat out of hell through European motorways, motorway service station food, one night freezing cold in the back of Martine's van in a lay-by, and then gradually the roads became narrower, smaller, quieter until we arrived in the beautiful forest monastery with almost complete silence. Beautiful. The next morning we rose a very beautiful landscape, and out of all corners came members of the Sangha, the monastic community, all very willing to help. And the Sala meditation hall is a short walk through the forest up a hill. So everyone joined together, and with a really kind of joyous spirit they began to help carrying all the different packages up the hill. And it reminded me so much of how much I miss living in the community. I built this furniture pretty much entirely on my own, and had also been spending a lot of time in isolation during the lockdown due to my health concerns. So I've been living very much a solitary life, looking after my mother. And then just recently it all changed. I have a new partner who's able to look after my mother, freed me up, enabled me to spend these days. And I was finding myself in the company of fellow meditators who really, there's a great deal of emphasis in the community towards looking after one another and service and working together. There's a Thai word, samagi, working together. And although I had very little to say in terms of instructions, as soon as we opened the van doors, it all seemed to happen without any of my doing it all. Everybody took their places, they played their part. Everything was carried up the hill, it was very carefully unwrapped, and by the time the whole thing was finished, it was all cleaned up. And I just felt like I was almost carried up the mountain myself. Aided in every way, and everything was done with a spirit of kindness and a real focus. I think in the community of people who are meditating together, there is an awareness of one another's needs and what we need to do. And the whole process, after a long journey rattling along the motorway, was in such contrast, and I just felt how much I'd missed the community spirit, having lived in the monastery myself for a number of years, and it was so lovely to be rejoined with it and to pick up the laughter and the playfulness that imbues these sort of places. And I hope these little pictures, this little bit of film was made by a young student who was staying at the temple at the time I was there. A lovely collection of pictures, so very grateful to her for adding her little bit to my movie. And then, of course, the fun started.